Hello, Hussein. Could you please give an introduction about yourself?
Hello, hi, I'm Husain Mansoor here. So I'm an entrepreneur for the past 5 years, and I've been in the education sector previously and F&B sector. And now, after so much journey, I'm got introduced into TRW, and I think this is the future of business. Yes.
Quite a statement to be making. So let's get into your past. 5 years in the education sector. What did that involve?
In the education sector, I was there for, before 5 years in business, but prior to that, I was 12 years in education sector. I'm 38 years old, by the way. I'm married. I've got a son. And 12 years I was in compliance management, in human resource management, financial management, and also pretty much also doing curriculum development. So I was part of the academic board. I was also part of the management team, heading multiple departments. And at one point of time I was already at the top of the game in terms of expansion on education sector. And I decided to have a career change because I was working for someone. So I thought that maybe I can utilize the skills and expertise and open up my own business and maybe be a head of the organization as a CEO. So that's when I went into F&B after that.
hmm
Yeah.
Um, the reason it's quite an interesting contrast there is because the real world, as we know, is an educational platform. So,
Yes.
considering your background in education, you can give, I'd imagine, quite a unique perspective on the difference between the work that you were involved in 5 years in those 5 year time span compared to what you see that is being taught in the real world and what you learned from it. So what kind of contrast can you give that?
Okay, there's actually a very big contrast. I mean, during my time in the education sector for 12 years, we speak to universities. I was also part of the verification program. I was also part of the setting up, going to universities, meeting up with the professors, and bring those courses over to Singapore. And we did all those American, dealing with American universities, UK universities, Australian universities, even from Switzerland. So the main difference is that we are looking at a theoretical approach towards business, towards hospitality, towards logistics. It's a very theoretical approach, and we will try to get students across the world to come and study an academic program, which may or may not benefit them. I mean, in Singapore, the government is very, very keen towards doing practical approach towards education. So they do allow studies then coupled with industrial attachment and all. But if you think about it as a course developer myself, I myself also have I have a double degree, which is a human resource and finance. I got two diplomas. I've got tons of certificates. I was a Because I'm in the education sector, so I keep learning. I keep studying all the way up to I was 30 years old. And now I'm 38, so it's been the last education cert that I took was 8 years ago. After that, I've never taken any certificate. So I came to a realization that, hey, most of these things are not applicable in the real world. They are theoretical concepts, which perhaps if you take science and technology and math, probably you will be able to, take up a career and do something about it. But arts and business, finance, it's not really something that you can apply in the real world, or make a business out of it. Yeah, so that's the main difference in education sector. But when you compare it in contrast to the real world, it's a very sharp, straight to the point, ABC, do it and you make money kind of approach. So I was blown away. First of all, when I look at the knowledge base that it has, and opposed to the a normal university degree or a program, is that changes in a program takes years. So you have to actually make a proposal, then the academic board has to approve it. By the time the knowledge comes down to the students, it's already redundant. We are talking about the next batch. It's like 1 year, one batch, 1 year. So the next year, 3 years later down, you see the change. But in TRW, it's not like that. It just changed overnight. If they find something is not working, then there's a call from one of the captains and say, guys, we are moving over to another one. Let's move on. So you don't lose you don't lose the core concepts of it, but the transition is so fast and so quick that as a person, you realize that time is the most precious resource. So they are saving that. So TRW is actually saving that, and it's giving you right to the core principle of business, money in. So without
Mhm.
that, nothing else works. Yeah. So that's the first part which I realized when you compare education sector and this. Yeah.
Mhm. And thank you for that perspective. It was very interesting to listen to. So, personally, what campuses did you get into that you focused the most on, and how was that?
I first got introduced into TRW because I saw Tate's video, and I'm a Muslim. So when I heard that he converted into a Muslim, I was like, "Hey, who's this guy? Let's go and take a look." Then I started looking at his video, and then it was not the fact that he became a Muslim that actually came into attention, but the way he speak. It's straight to the point. I mean, I've been in business for the past 5 years, pre-COVID, and I've been into F&B, I've been into logistics and IT services consulting and all. So I do a mix of multiple business. I'm a hustler since young, since 16 years old. I'm working. I finance my own education. I got married. I bought my own house. Everything is self-financed. I've got no support from parents or siblings or whatsoever. Even though we are a big family, and in business, the most important thing is that you'll be able to call out bullshit when you see someone. So that's the core thing that you get as a businessman. So when you look at Tate, the way he addressed the audience, it's straight to the point, sharp. It's that one word that actually tells you that this guy is not playing. This guy is not beating around the bush. He's straight to the point. So when he said that it's a hustlers university, in those previously it was called hustlers university, then the real world, and I went in and I just signed up and go in and go for every campus, every single campus. I just signed up, go in and tag in, go through the videos, understand, explore, and I wasn't really focused on any one of them because I was like trying to understand where is this coming from, and then I thought that this is a really uh, big move. I mean, it's going to help millions of people, and for a year almost I used some of the concepts. Then I understood. I was very interested in the business mastery because I already have a business, and the business mastery campus and the one that Tate and Tristan's videos are there. It's very useful for me. So I started to make some changes to my businesses based on the advice given in TRW, based on the videos that I see. So the first thing which the biggest spark, I mean the big statement which I understood is that you don't really need an infrastructure or money out in order to make business. That's the first statement that hit me, because as a businessman, I'm spoiled to the point that I always have this in mind that I can't make money without pumping out money first. So it's always that I have to take an office, I have to take a unit, I have to take a facility, and I got to have programs, I got to have what do you call it, products. Then I can sell. But look at ecom, drop shipping. Look at digital marketing, CC plus AI, AAA. There's no investment required. Is even if you say investment is just US dollar, $50, $100, $200, very small, but the earnings and the returns are way higher than what I can make in a real business. So that was the first point that hit me. And I started making changes to my current because I already have a lot of infrastructure. I've got, by then, I have kitchens, I have products, I have offices and all, and this is my new office, and it's unlike any other office I've used. This is a one man office, so it is a built in such a manner that after seeing Ted and his brothers just going there to work, and I've got my brother on board as well, and I've got a few people, division heads, who will come here and we'll discuss, and we'll just keep working. So that's what I took. So I started changing my way of doing business according to what the real world is actually teaching me. So yeah, so I come with a baggage. Now the thing is I have to clean up my baggage, you see.
Interesting. And yeah, amazing to hear. Um, do explain a bit more. So, getting your own one man office or that you share with your brother, how has that affected things for you?
I initially had an office, a shared space with a few of my staff, and things were very mundane. So it kind of hit me like 9 to 5 kind of job because I come from a 9 to 5 kind of a person. I worked in a corporate office at MNC, and then when I took my office, I modeled it in such a manner. So we have a staff sitting in, and then there's another staff sitting in. Now there's one MD room. I'll be in the MD room, and the mentality is that I come here at 9 a.m., then I head off at 6 p.m., then done. So but that's not how a business is. A business continues ongoing and on and on, and your brain is going on without stopping thinking about it. So what I did is that I let go of that office, and I took this one man office. There's a bed. You will see it over here. There's a bed there. There's a bed. There's a place to work. There's a place to relax, and there's a lounge area where we can do a good discussion. There's a pantry. So I'll come here. Um, I'll stay here for 2 to 3 days, continuously working. So if I'm sleepy, I'll just hit off on the bed. So I'll tell my wife that I'm going to work, I'm going to office. So I'll be back 2 3 days later. So if I have to go back, I'll go back. So I've got a wardrobe and all. So I sit down because I realize that I have a lot of businesses. I have a lot of overheads. I've got a family that I need to support, employees, and they have their family. So the commitment and the responsibility is actually quite high. So I have to clean up how it can be done. So time has to be given in order to do those changes. So I can't work on a 9 to 6 mentality. I have to continue working. So that every minute that I'm awake, I'm working. So that kind of motto. I got this from the marketing campus. Every minute you're awake, you're working. That kind of attitude. So I changed to that, and then
From Luke's voice notes, can you
I
say
think
them?
it was
No.
by Pope. No, it was Lucas. Lucas, I think.
Ah,
Marketing
no.
campus by Lucas. Every minute you're working, every minute you're awake, you're working. So that kind of ingrained when I was doing the marketing campus. I think it's an affiliate marketing campus, and so I set up this office so I can have a monk mode kind of thing. So I hit on the classical music and I start working all the way. And I'll manage to finish a lot of things. And I realized that I can open more businesses than I can afford to manage. So I initially had like two business, a consultancy firm and a digital marketing. Then I ventured into F&B. Now I have a total of eight businesses, so of which five of them are in F&B, and we are moving a lot more into digital marketing. So the office or the environment that you're in is very important. So you have to either, if you can, be with like-minded people, like people like my brother. My brother used to be work for someone, but he has very good knowledge in stock trading and all. So I introduced him into TRW. So probably he'll be watching this later as well. So I introduced him, and we managed to find success in it. So at one point, I took an office, and I told him that I've got an office separately for him. So he has like six computers there, and he's running the stock trading and forex, and he's doing well. He's focusing on one campus. And then for myself, he will come here. He was also part of my other businesses as well. And we discuss, we manage. I got a big whiteboard there that we churn out all the information, all the crisis problems. We will solve it. And there are also the division heads because I have multiple business. All the division head, I'll tell them come over to the office and we'll discuss the problems. So I'm at a spot where all the business now are running on its own, so there is not much involvement from my side. That I don't need to be there. It's like if you have a kitchen, I don't need to run the kitchen. People are there. I've got supervisors and managers running it, and I manage the finance and human resources. So I call them in, and if there's a new product range, new what do you call it, new revenue stream that I need to create, I'll call them in. Then I tell them what to do, and different team members will start working together, and we'll launch it off. So
Mhm.
that's pretty much how the office has helped me. So it becomes like a focus point, and no disturbances. So that's the whole idea behind it.
So, considering the number of businesses you manage, could you run through an example of a recent business from when you began it, even if it began before? So, let's say first you might need to learn the skill and then create a business around it and outsource, or just what was your approach for it and the whole process from start to getting it to where it is now?
Okay, so the first business that I started was a consultancy firm, so a management consultancy, so which is Arcade Merchants. So if you look at the website, I'll have multiple services inside. There's branding, there's compliance, there's education, coaching, business coaching, networking, and then everything is under one company. So what I did was that I tried to create a business based on the skills that I have. So when I was in the education sector, I do a lot of problem solving, compliance, regulation, and also setup and expansion. So when I went into F&B, food and beverage, I was a CEO for a F&B group in Singapore. I was there as a CEO for 2.5 years. Then I went on. I got a lot of experience through that, and we managed to improve our revenue in that company as well. So I went on to open my consultancy firm, and the whole idea was that to help companies solve critical issues in terms of performance and scaling. So these are the two things. So I look at the performance, I'll swoop in direct to the problem and find out what is the issue and give them a solution to either control the cost or scale their business. Either one of them depends. Two, the businesses are usually in two categories. One, they are having a lot of overheads. You need to do something about it, cost control, or they have good resources but they don't know how to expand, or they don't have the reliable people or reliable team members to actually expand the business. So they are stagnant. So these are the two businesses which I look for. And from education sector, when I was helping a few, naturally because I was the most recent was in food and beverage industry. So I've got a lot of F&B owners call me up and said that, hey Hussein, why not help me out with this business and that business. So they say they see the way I work. I put up a team. Very complex issues become simplified, and once they see that, the natural process is that they'll give me two options. Can you run the company for me, or do you want to buy over the business or become part of the become a business partner? So that's how the FNB investment started. So I ventured into a kitchen. I said that, okay, I have a kitchen partner, and I told them, okay, I'll come in as a partner. Maybe I'll pump in some money, and we came in as a shareholding. And eventually I took a kitchen, then I took a second kitchen. And if you notice, running a kitchen in Singapore is very expensive. It's every month we are spending like 40, $50,000 on rental and expenses and everything. So what I did was that was the point where I got introduced into TRW, and I realized that I can open new verticals. So we used to do meat processing, and we supply B2B to companies. And as part of the network, people got to see, I started seeing opportunities when I speak to people of different industry. For example, there was one guy from the gym. He's a gym trainer. So he's a trainer. I got to know him through a networking session. And he told me that, hey, I actually have 30 clients with me. So uh, let's talk about what we can do together. So the first thing that sparked is that, okay, if you're a gym trainer, and wouldn't you guys be focused on your diet as well? Yeah, yeah, I've got food. I've got a food company. So what I can do is I can create proteins for you. I can get you prawn, mackerel, salmon, and beef steak, and I can get you chicken, thigh, and breast. I can do like 8 to 10 different marination, and you sell it. I'll do the production. So we come up with a new brand, which is Energizing Eats, and then he's the one selling it. So he has no inventory. The inventory comes from my kitchen. So for me, it's just marination. I just have to keep some stock in addition to what I'm already doing. So that was one product which I'm pushing. So that's a raw meat. That's a new business which we are doing together, and it's running very well. It has been the sales has been going higher and higher every month, and we see it's growing and expanding. And we introduced a 10% revenue share on that, and for new people who are selling for us. And so what happened is that I've got this idea. I'm working with a partner. So what I did is that, okay, since we already have a marination product, why not cook it and sell it? So when I cook it and sell it, it became another product which is called a keto box. So we just added some salad to it and cooked the same protein, and we sell it to hospitals where people have diet restrictions. So I start selling that. That became another business model altogether. So these are things that when you force yourself, the information that you get from TRW, where you say that you don't need to You don't necessarily need to spend money to earn money, right? So when you start thinking like that, you see that, okay, what do I have? What's my resource? What do I specialize in? And try to expand it slowly. And it all became separate businesses. And then the most recent is the digital marketing. I used to do website development for some of the companies. So end up that we have a lot of partners, we have a lot of clients. I started telling them, hey, I've got, we can do social media marketing for you. And now we have AI robots and chatbots. We can do it for you. So it's like, oh, really, Hussein, you're doing it because they know my work. They know how I work for them. So say, is it? Okay, let's do it. It's like immediate closure. There's no need to even sell. So it's like, you have it. Okay, let's do it. That's the kind of thing that happened after that. So I see right now in the real world, I'm in mainly I'm focusing on three campus. The first one is the business mastery, and second one is CC plus AI, and the third one will be triple A. So these are the three campus which I'm focusing. In terms of DeFi, I'm also doing DeFi. I've got some crypto investment and all going on, so that is on a sideline. So I'll do the daily task on that as well. So that's pretty much what I'm doing right now.
Okay, once again, very interesting to listen to. Um, I'm learning AI automation myself at the moment, and a thought I had today while going through it is it's just it's hard to really comprehend how a skill you might be learning now could come in useful in 5 years. Because I studied artificial intelligence in university, and even before university, I went and done some AI stuff. And now I'm seeing ways that that can be integrated into AI automation, even though it's a different field to, not different field, but different sector, different way of using it than I used it. Because in this case, it's using software to automate different parts of businesses, whereas the AI I done was self-taught AI, so kind of different version of it. Anyway, now I see how that can link to the AI automation and actually how much more that can scale the income I can get from doing AI automation that way. And again, that was just something I was doing 5, 6 years ago. And since then, I've done so many other things. Also went through the real world, learned new skills, and all those skills have up till now in some way provided to have been useful to learn because I integrated them into what I do. And the final thing was what I had done with AI, I hadn't used for anything with what I currently do. And now I see, this is how basically everything I've learned before now like has come full circle and is all integrating into what
Yes.
I'm currently doing. So it sounds kind of similar in your case as well. Things you were doing previously and you were learning, most of it, if not all of it, has now come full circle as well. And in some way, you've implemented into what you're doing now. Would that be the
Yeah,
right way to
that's right.
express?
Yeah, that'll be the right way to do it. And at the same time, I have been working on digital marketing and all, but it's not. There are some knowledge that we will realize that, hey, this is what we used to do. But then when you look at the way the campus is structured, they will give you above and beyond. Like one example which I have, a real life scenario, is that I used to run about 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I used to start. I came across an app that actually does faceless videos. So you just feed in some information, you log in, you tag it to a TikTok account, and then you tag it to an Instagram account and YouTube account. It will start posting. So every month you just pay a premium about $100 or what, and let it run. So I tried that, and the results wasn't so good. And the stories are there, the voice is there, and all, but the result wasn't so good. And I don't know what I was doing wrong. And just last week, just last week, there was another short AI, I think, shortly AI or something, that Pope was actually talking about. So there was this live call, and I joined. Most of the time, I'll try to join the live call because the live calls are like precious gems, you see. So if any student who just focus on one live call, he can make tons of money. Just one live call. So you don't really need to be focused on every single one of them. But if you are serious, you want to make money out of something, just focus on that one live call, and that's a business idea that you can take it and scale it. So I really believe that, because I tried to do this faceless video, and then I went for this course which Pope was actually telling in the live call. And that was when I realized where I made the mistake. So the whole idea is not to just let the machine run by itself, but you need to take it up. So there was a 5 step process in it. I was only doing 2 steps. The remaining 3 steps were missing. So that's the missing link. So now I call up my brother and immediately I told him, hey, you know what? We're going to do that again. We have to start making money. There's another 3 more steps that we need to do. Let's do it. And that will become another model.
Mhm.
So that's the thing about the real world. If you continue looking into it and continue listening to it, you realize even for a seasoned businessman like myself, I've been in business for 5 years. We go through a lot of loss and profit and this and that. I can say I'm a seasoned businessman, and the number of network we have, the number of connections we have, I can say it's easier to get clients for me. But we don't know where we are making mistakes because we are at the top of the food chain. Who do you look up to? Everybody is looking up to me. And sometimes I don't have the answers. So I have to look up to someone. So that's pretty much where I think I pick up most of this information or guidance from the real world. And especially all the captains and Pope and Lucas and um, all the professors. I think Prof. Anu, especially, I know, going through his videos, it can seem like he's teaching, you know kids, like teenagers, but sometimes the things that he say can really apply at a very high level. And so that's pretty much what I understand. So if you are in business, it's not just for newcomers into business, but it's also for seasoned businessmen to look into TRW and find out where you're going wrong, and then change the business model that you're doing. So for me, that's what I'm doing now. So I have existing businesses. I'm changing the way we are doing things according to what the TRW actually feeding information. So we go according to that, and I'm seeing our margins are better, our business is expanding, and now we are not limited by the number of business that we can do. So I thought that doing 3 businesses was crazy. In the past, people used to say, "You're doing 3 business, how do you do that? How do you focus on that? It's impossible. You got to take care of yourself. You're not sleeping well." But yeah, I'm putting in the same amount of work, but I'm doing 8 businesses now, and income just quadrupled. So it's a totally different ball game altogether once you reset that. um, when you're awake, you're working. So you have to set time for work. And yeah, so that's what I think.
Okay. And that comes to my next question, which is considering, as you said, you were a seasoned businessman already when you joined, but after having implemented the lessons and everything you learned from the real world into your businesses, what would you say that related to in terms of increasing income? Like how much in the time that you've been in the real world would you attribute in income to that?
Okay, let's put it this way. Say for example, I my revenue per month, in the past, it used to be like, say 100,000, right? I'm giving a ballpark figure, 100,000. So the problem with the 100,000 is that the profit is about 10% after you do everything. So you have to sell for 100,000. At the end of the day, after the rental, manpower, this and that, after you minus off everything, what you take is about 8 to 10%. So I have a percentage for every different business. So if it's a central kitchen, we're looking at about 5 to 8%. If it's a coffee shop, we're looking at about 15 to 20%. If it's an online platform, we are looking at about 30 to 40%. So consulting 70%, IT services 80%. So this is the margin that we're working at. But at the end of the day, what I'm taking back home is just a meager 10%. But once we implement TRW's principles, business concepts, business models, the margins are like 80% all the way. So now, if I'm doing a sale based on a TRW business model, I'm keeping 80% while I'm spending 20%. Whereas my current business is I'm spending about 90%, but I'm keeping 10%. So it's a no brainer. Where do I need to focus? I have to be focusing on the next generation business model, which is from TRW. So I am not shutting down my businesses, I'm just changing the way it's being done. So there are some decisions we had to make, like, okay, Let's work on a partnership with an existing business. Let them do the operations. Let them run it. I'll just bring the sales. I'll focus on CC plus AI and do it for my own business and get a commission out of it. That's much better than me running the kitchen myself and getting a small percentage out of that. So if I were to put how many X increment is that, you can say about 6 to 8 times more in terms of earnings. So
Mhm.
same amount of time that you're spending, same amount of stress, but you are doing multiple businesses and the margins are way higher than what a normal business can give you.
Which sounds pretty insane when you put it like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. I know I said amazing quite a few times at this point, but it's really good. Very
Yeah,
interesting
I'm
concept.
amazed, by the way. I'm amazed myself.
um, but yeah, 8 businesses. So that was a question I wanted to ask earlier that I wanted to come back to. So you said sometimes you spend several days in your office.
Yes.
But do you still find that balance between family and relationships in general and work, or is it just fully consumed in work?
I think if there are different stages in marriage, right? So I've been married for I'm 38 now. I may look young. A lot of people say I don't look 38. I'm like 25, 28, and also. So
Mhm,
I've got good genes thanks to my father. I make him proud.
mhm,
And uh, I was married for what 16 years now, and we've been together for many years. I've got a wife, and we've been together for many years, and we are at a stage where she knows that I need to work, and she's not working. She's a stay-home mom, and I'm supporting her financially, and she's happy with the amount that I'm giving. My son is studying, and we've got a house. We've got no uh, problems with debts and this and that. So she's satisfied, and I think that's the most important thing. Is she's satisfied with what we are doing for her. And of course, there's when I say that I'm going away for 2 to 3 days, and there's a bit of pain point, but it's not much because my son is there to give her company. So I'm at a stage where it's okay for us to, go out 2 days, 3 days, but we have to go back home and spend a day, spend half a day with my son. Sometimes evenings, my son will call me and say, uh, "Papa, can you come home and make me sleep?" I'll do that. When he call me, can you make me sleep? If he calls me about 8 plus and all, I'll go back home. My home is about 15 to 20 minutes away.
mhm,
So I'll go back home, put him to sleep, and I'll come back. So I try to do that as well. So, I will do that as about once a week. Probably I'll do that if he really miss me so much. And also I put my son to sleep every time I'm home. I'll put him to sleep. There are times I'll be very stressful and I tell him, please, not today. And he'll be like, okay. Yeah. So you need to strike a balance. It's important to strike a balance. But if you are just married, I think it might be tricky to do what I do. So probably you might have to spend more time with your spouse, and probably you have to set aside time for them. So you can't say family is family. This is the you need to give them. Otherwise, don't get married. Right? You shouldn't get married if you can't spend time with them. So probably you have to spend time with them. And my office is like that. Sometimes I bring my son over during the weekend. So weekends, on a Friday night he'll come here. Like tonight, I called him, so I told him that I've got an interview, so no, don't come today. And usually he'll come here, he'll sit down at the launch area, he'll play game, talk to his friends, and he also helps me in business. He can create website. He's 10 years old. He can do websites. He can do CC plus AI. He's very well adept with CC, CapCut. So a lot of times he will teach me how to do certain editing and all. So I'll say, hey, how did you do this editing? I didn't know we have that feature. Oh, it's a new feature. That in the past, the CapCut, we had to do those subtitles one by one, and then we have to do the spacing and all. I used to do that. Then one fine day, he just came out and just, see, I did this video. It's like, huh, you did the subtitle? How did you do it? Oh, it's automatic now. I didn't know there was an automatic feature there. So he would teach me how to do this. So it's a very fun environment when you have a son, and he's also involved in the work. So
mhm,
I'm at a point now that work and family is already mixed. I can't
mhm,
separate it, and the only way I can separate it is if I come to office and I continue working, and then I go back home. Then everything shuts down. So
mhm.
that's pretty much how I'm handling. Yeah.
Glad you clarified that because clearly context is important because other people
Yes.
who would try that and are in different positions would have completely different results. Their relationships would probably suffer because of it. But you have it set up to where it's not actually how would I say? You have it very well integrated, so it's completely possible for you to do that without affecting your relationships. And even
But
as you said,
but I
sometimes it's
would,
sometimes
but I
over,
wouldn't.
sometimes
I don't have any problems in my family. I do have, but in 90% of the time, the man can manage the problem. So the man can solve the problem by just getting along and taking care of the wife and kids. I think you can solve the problem. But like what you said, it's important. The context is very important. Different life stages, different perspective. Sorry to cut you off earlier.
no, you summarized it. So yeah, I'm happy to wrap up there. We can do a final question. So
Sure.
for people who are unsure about joining the real world because they're thinking for $50, what if it's a scam? What advice would you have to them?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Sure, sure, sure. So people who are thinking about joining the real world, but they're thinking, man, these $50, I don't know if I can invest it. I don't know if I can spend it. What if it's a scam? What advice would you have to those people?
Okay, the 50, that's the best investment you can do in your life. That $50 is nothing. And even if you have to make do a part-time job and get a $50, just put your money in it, because the amount of work that you're going to get out of the $50 is phenomenal. And trust me, all you have to do is just focus on one campus, something that fits your working style, something that you can understand, something that you can pull through. Focus on it, do it, and you'll see within a month, 2 months. I've seen a lot of people in the campus within a month they are making tons of money. I myself am a testimony for that. Just 1 month focusing on AAA, I made only 5 phone calls for AAA. 5 phone calls, and I told them that I sent them the demo, and I said, "This is what I'm doing. You guys want to hop on it?" Immediately, $40,000 investment straight away. Yeah. So whether you're a newcomer into business, or you're a seasoned business, that's the best investment that you can do. I just go on the hero journey. I paid for a year, and I don't want to take my subscription off. If possible, I want to continue all the way. And I don't know. And the best part is that the campus is evolving every single time. It's evolving to the latest information, business situation in the world. So what we have 6 months ago, you might not find it today because it was relevant 6 months ago, but not anymore. So that is the best investment that you can have for the real world. So don't think about it. It's not a scam. We are making money out of it. Trust me, you can never make that kind of money outside. I've been into many different networking groups and many different platforms, and nothing beats what TRW is doing. And yeah, in Singapore, I've even had some of the fellow TRW students in Singapore coming over, and we managed to do some work together. So what I did is that I've got the clients, they have the skill sets, and I'm looking for people who can work together. And they have been here. We are doing together. It's a community. I think it's the best thing that can ever happen to you.
Very well said. Man, really enjoyed this. So for people who want to find out more about you or contact you, where could they do so?
You can go to www.arc8merchants.com. So that's my website. My phone number is there. My bio data is there. All the businesses I'm doing are there. So just come over to the office and maybe we can have a chat. Yeah. And
Amazing.
if anyone from overseas they want to come into Singapore and do a business together, I'm keen. I'm open to that as well.
Very interesting. So I'll add that to description of the video. Anyone interested, just check the description. Link will be there. Yeah, Hussein, thank you for coming on and sharing your unique experience. It was pretty cool to
Thank you.
hear. Apologies, I messed up at the start. I know I thought you meant 5 years in education sector, but you meant 12 years in education sector and
Yes,
five
that's
years
right.
entrepreneur, correct?
Yeah.
I think
Yes,
I
correct.
understood it later. So yeah, I know I was
No worries.
referring it the wrong way before, but yeah, with your 12 years in education sector, seeing the contrast there between the everything you've done there and then the real world as an educational platform, then 8 businesses, that's quite something to be running as well. So thank you for sharing your experiences there. And
Thank you.
would love to do a follow up at some point in the future to see how everything's scaling for you and progressing for you, and to get it documented on a video.
All
So
right.
if you'll be interested,
Yes. Yes.
I look forward to that.
Anytime. Anytime.
And I wish you all the best with everything.
Thank you. Thank you. You too. You too. Thank you so much.